will be delivered in English. So those of you who use translation, please put your earsets. The next lecture is by Haim Shkolnik from a staff officer of archaeology, and Gershon Cochva from Orot Israel College, Efrat College, and Midreshet Hebron. And the title of the presentation is Crusaders' Masons Marks in the Tombs of the Patriarchs, Hebron, a recent discovery in its Iberian connection. So, Haim, please.
הערה טכנית, יש לנו אוזניות לתרגום סימולטני לעברית, אז מי שמעוניין באוזניות פשוט תרימו את היד, ולא יודע אם יש לכולם, אבל אנחנו ננסה לכמה שיותר לתת אוזניות, כדי, ההרצאה תהיה באנגלית.
אם כן הציבור ממש יתקומם ויבקש. אוקיי. שיתארגנו, כן.
Okay, so I think we will begin. So Haim, please.
Good evening or good afternoon. Feels like almost late night. The Mason's marks. Hundreds of Crusader Mason's marks are known from dozens of buildings from the Crusader period across the Holy Land. They are being studied since the late 19th century, with the most recent study published 45 years ago by Dennis Pringle. And Hebron, despite being an important lordship in the days of the Crusader kingdoms, was absent from those tables up until very recently. The ancient city of Hebron, famous for the resting place of the founding fathers and mothers of the Jewish people, buried there in the mysterious cave of Machpelah, the double cave, on top of which Herod the Great built his tremendous Heron Temenos. So don't leave tonight before you hear the lecture of Gershon Bar Cochva. And the inner space of this compound was divided and redivided again and again over the course of the next 2,000 years by numerous buildings. The most prominent of which, no doubt, is the 12th century Crusader Romanesque church. A very short timeline of the Crusader phase of the city. It was remarkably short. It was conquered practically immediately after the conquest of Jerusalem. 1119, remember this event. The mortuary remains, the relics of the Patriarchs were dug up by the Latin monks below the floors of the compound. That's an important, a pivotal event in the history of the building. 50 years later, it turns into a bishopric. Less than a year afterwards, it was taken over by Muslims. And in the next 800 years, it operates as a purely Islamic shrine. As for the Mason's marks, one may ask himself why none were found so far, if it's a typical Crusader church. Well, the answer is twofold. As for the exterior walls, the surfaces were treated by the employees of the Islamic Waqf with fast rotating tools, so the surfaces are completely effaced, and obviously non-Mason's marks, if they ever existed, can be seen today. And as for the interior, it generally is unavailable for research, so we had to wait for opportunities in the shape of infrastructure works conducted by the Waqf usually, which demanded supervision, which obviously was used as an opportunity to explore the walls of the church. The first two marks were found in 2020, clearly signalizing that there must be more to be found. Ironically, these two marks, you can see, they both belong to unique types. So later on, 5 years later, we found a casual find on the top of the roof, on an ashlar in a secondary use. And then almost 200 more marks were documented on the interior walls of the compound. Quick look at the plan prepared by Per Vensan over 100 years ago. Note the numbering he'd given to the composite pillars, A, B, C, and D, and their respective response. That's important because you will see that the marks are clustered around these four pillars and their response, and certain types appearing around a certain pillar will not appear in the clusters associated with other pillars. That's important because it tells us something about how the building was built, in which way, and probably signalizing that the work was conducted simultaneously by a number of groups of artisans, of stonemasons. General view of the interior. You see the pillars, A, B, and their response, C and D with their response, and now the marks. See the types. I'm going through really quickly because there are many, and we don't really have to talk too much about them. You see how they appear. You see they appear in groups, and on the arches, and between the columns, and more. And you see new types appear, and you don't see the types you've seen a moment ago. And that's how it works. These are the main types. This is the table with the frequencies of the types. Most of the types indeed belong to types which have already been known from the works by Clermont-Ganneau, by de Sandoli, by Pringle, and they didn't really demand any further inquiries. But one certain type, and I mean this mason mark in the shape of a bird head, like looks like a pigeon, a dove, appear to be unique. And after a very thorough check and search, we were not able to find it anywhere among the monuments of the Crusader Kingdom of Jerusalem, and in none of the other of the four Crusader polities existing and comprising the Outre-mer as the Crusader realm. So So basically, they didn't exist anywhere else except for this one, obviously differently looking. Makadricha, no? Well, זה תוספת זמן, no? Okay. They can. So I have extra time now. So the last slide you could see it's some bird of prey. It's closer to be an eagle or something like this. So it's not that pigeon we were occupied with. So once we were not able to find it, not in Lebanon, not in Syria, not in Cyprus. So we started naturally expanding our circles farther and farther into Europe until I screamed Africa, and I think I called Gershon in the middle of the night or something like this when I realized that we have a 100% match. We found this type of Mason's marks in a group of monuments narrowly clustered around the city of Leon in Spain. The kingdom, the medieval kingdom of Leon in the northwestern Spain. Like half a dozen of monuments, all having this mysterious Mason's mark in the shape of a bird's head. I would like to show you what I'm talking about. The Metzunzar, it's classified. So the rest is classified. Yeah. And I can talk. I guess I can talk meanwhile. And when I started looking closer at those churches and monasteries and abbeys having those Mason's marks, two names of two female rulers, two independent and strong women. The first one of them was the first real queen, European queen, which wasn't just the wife of a king. She was a queen by her own power. Her name was Urraca of Leon and Castilla. And then her daughter, the Infanta Sancha Raimundes. And it turned out that they both were interested, if not to say obsessed with Abraham, which was expressed in the case of Urraca by a relief and tympanum relief adorning the main entrance to the main church of Leon, depicting the sacrifice of Abraham, which was, if not a unique trait, but definitely not something which is common in Crusader art. Usually such scenes are depicted in hidden and secondary importance parts of the buildings, usually adorning capitals, but not main portals and not main doorways of churches. And also this relief included a unique depiction of Ishmael, depicted as an Islamic warrior, as an archman on a horseback, something very interesting. And this relief was put in the monument in the days of Urraca, which was explained recently by the scholars as an attempt to protect her lineage and to justify the dynastic wars which took place there, and of course the very actual and the very relevant during that period wars with the Islamic conquerors, with the Berberan warriors. So that's the place. You see the city of Leon and the main sites which have churches and other buildings adorned with this Mason's mark. This is our mark, and those are the marks from the Kingdom of Leon. I think it looks convincing. It looks very, very, very similar, very close. This one is from that church, from the main church of Leon, the church dedicated to San Isidoro, where we have the tympanum adorned with the sacrifice of Abraham. You'll see it. That's just to give you the proportions. It's almost 4,000 kilometers apart. Just imagine. Those are our two strong women. And this is the church of San Isidoro. So you can see here the sacrifice of Abraham, Isaac, and the Haim, Sarah, and Hagar. Hagar, and next to her, Ishmael. Unique depiction of Ishmael in this kind of iconography. When I said that both ladies were interested, if not to say obsessed with Abraham, I meant it literally, because what you see in front of you now is a portable altar. It's like a tabletop used for liturgical purposes in churches, belonging to the daughter of Urraca, to Infanta Sancha. And this altar piece includes a very long list of relics, of mortuary remains, of stones and pieces of dust from holy places, from various holy for the Christian sites, mainly from the Holy Land. And the complete list, you see how long the list is, it starts with Abraham. It starts with the mortuary remains of Abraham. And if you will travel to read the entire list, you'll see that it includes also relics which one would say are more important than Abraham. You see, there is the bed of Holy Mary on Mount Zion, and some remains from the Chapel of the Holy Cross on the Calvary. But she preferred to name in this inventory list, to put Abraham first. And another interesting detail is that this altar was dedicated by a bishop of Bethlehem. So she had some kind of relation with clergy in the Holy Land and with the Holy Land by itself, which is kind of surprising because from what we know now, the Spanish kingdoms did not take any active part in the Crusades. Actually, they were ordered by the Pope to stand their ground and to fight Muslims in their country and not to participate in the wars over the Holy Land and holy places. And the documents reflect it. We don't see any substantial participation of Spanish royalty or even clergy or just noble people, surprisingly, next to nothing. But when I started to looking for insisting on finding something which could qualify as Spanish sounding in the Regesta Regni Rursulimitani, this is the corpus of the documents from the Crusader period, I found a suspiciously Spanish sounding name. You could read it Guisla, or as the medieval Spaniard would say, Gisla. And this is a North Spanish name. It was a noble lady who had a house in Jerusalem next to the Holy Sepulchre. And the most striking detail is that the document clearly says that the lady originally belongs to the Casalium of Hebron. It was Gisla Sancti Abrahe. Gisla from St. Abraham, from that village, from the fortified village of Hebron, which signalizes us that there was a person on the ground probably doing something for a Spanish monarchy in the Holy Land. Now about the conclusions. So first of all, yes, it's a large corpus. It's a large corpus of Mason's marks, to be published for the first time from Hebron. They allow us to date the reconstruction of the church. Of course I didn't touch it here, but the building, when you look closer at it, you can see scars, changes in the courses of masonry, so it was very obviously rebuilt these days we can clearly date this later construction phase when by those masons' marks, which are well dated to the middle 12th century. We may suggest, and we may even insist on it, that there was a traveling workshop of artisans coming from Spain, maybe sent by the Queen, by the Infanta Sancha Raimundez, to Hebron to do something in honor of the Patriarchs of Abraham. And I think that's enough for today.
Thank you very much for this fascinating lecture and those great discoveries. Do we have any questions? I think you can ask also in Hebrew. So,
We have many questions.
Yeah, excellent.
This might be too basic, but can you explain how they would decide who put the marks where?
Maybe more generally, what is the function
Okay,
of those
so
marks?
should I answer it in English or in Hebrew? What do you prefer? Okay. So in English. So let's keep it in English. They generally we view those marks on ashlars and on architectural members as we interpret them in two possible ways. They could have been used as bankers' marks, like you had a workshop, so the head of the workshop would mark his production. So in the end of the day, of the week, or the project, he would get paid for the amount of ashlars of pieces his people produced. Another option, that those were used as assembly marks. They were marking certain surfaces of certain details. So those who were occupied with the construction, they would know where each and every piece is supposed to go, to which part of the building. So those are the options.
Yes. Can you tell us how long, or how many hours they had to spend for making these marks?
For each mark?
I mean, how percentage of work time, of labor, should be wasted for
should
this?
be wasted. Yes. I see. Well, I think I know that there is in the field of the experimental archaeology there were attempts of reproducing such things. Usually, a skilled worksman does it in a few strokes. It takes probably minutes, maybe less than that. But I agree with you. It's a waste of time, generally speaking. Something that could have been done with paint, for example, or a charcoal or something.
Was there a connection to Abu Ghosh? In the slide you showed exactly at the time when the computer went down, there was a supposedly connection with Abu Ghosh. Was there any? Oh,
so for the purity of the experiment, you know, I told that the bird's heads, they are unique for the region. We actually have one Mason's mark, which technically it's bird's head, but it's a completely different bird. It appears to be a bird of prey, like a great eagle or something with wings and looking completely differently. And this one was documented by Clermont-Ganneau over 100 years ago, somewhere in Abu Ghosh. I didn't see it myself, so that's the only one. That's as close to a bird head we could get. I doubt, because this it's fresh off the press, as they say. It's, Next book, yeah. Okay, that's it.
I think it's perfect.